Good evening. It's Saturday, September 11th, 2021. And in yesterday's class, Computer Communications, I changed from my Windows platform to my Mac platform to do our class conference. Did a change at the last minute. And so I kind of tripped and fell when I was wanted to show you telnet since we're studying Chapter 2, Application Layer Protocols. So I just completed making a Mac video after I downloaded telnet source code and built it and ran it. So I made a movie for the Mac people. You Windows folks, you can go watch that and it will, show you how I built from source on a Mac platform. It would be a different process a little bit on a Windows platform, but I don't need to build it from source because for Windows, I went off and I found a trial version of a Windows tcpdump. And now what is tcpdump? So tcpdump is a command line version of a packet capture tool. It's different than Wireshark. It predates Wireshark, but it's used actually quite frequently, especially in engineering, embedded systems, that type of thing where you don't always have, full screen, GUI, all that kind of stuff. So I decided I would make this short video to show you how to work this on Windows 10. Okay, let me open a browser. Let's go find tcpdump for Windows. So tcpdump for Windows, download. Okay, we find this micro lap tcpdump for Windows. And notice here that the trial version is what we're going to download. This is not really a free version. It's more of a trial version, but it's not like you're getting sucked into any kind of a subscription. So I'm going to grab license HTM, readme text, and tcpdump exe, and I'm going to extract to a specified folder. I use tools. I make a directory called tools. I put that in my path, and then whenever I want to try stuff, I can just, drag stuff there. Now, since I've already done this, you won't see this window, but I'm going to say yes to all to replace. I'm just overwriting it so I can show you the process. Okay, so I'm closing out of my browser, and now I want to get a command window, but I want to do it as an administrator. So I'm going to type CMD in the search box for Windows 10. I'm going to say run as administrator. This is key because the first time you run this version of tcpdump, you have to run it as administrator or it will not install the necessary capture libraries. So now I'm going to go to tools where I stored it. You can store it where you want to. tcpdump exe, there it is. I'm going to say tcpdump. And it comes up and now it's trying to capture. It just is listening on the first device it found, which I don't really have anything running on. So now I'm going to say tcpdump -d, and it's going to list the interfaces. And this is, I know I'm using my Wi-Fi interface, this one right here, the Intel Wireless AC. So that is interface number 6. You can kind of do an IP config on your own system, and you can go, oh, look, I recognize my home network, wireless LAN adapter, Wi-Fi, Belkin. Oh, okay. All right. This is, well, Belkin is the connection. So I go back here and I'm like, okay, yeah, Intel Wireless. Okay, that's the one I want. I want number 6. So I'm going to say tcpdump -i. This is the interface, and I'll say 6 because that matches that. And then I'll say -a port 23 and hit enter. And now it's just sitting there waiting. So -a tells tcpdump to strip off the link layer information from the packet capture so you don't have to see that. Port 23 tells tcpdump to restrict displaying just the packets that have either a source port or a destination port of 23, and 23 is the well-known port number for telnet. Okay, so now I'm going to shrink this window down a little bit, and I'm going to open up a second terminal window by right-clicking, and this does not have to be an administrative window. So let me mess around with the sizing to try and make it nice and readable. Okay, looks like I need to move it over here. Let me, oops, I didn't quite mean to do that. There we go. Let me do this. Make sure I can get it fitted in here correctly. Okay, and then I'll widen it over here. Okay, so now the bottom window is capturing off the Wi-Fi, filtering, looking for just port 23, which is telnet. So now I'm going to run my telnet command, and I'm going to say go to telehack.com, and that's a site that is maintained that has telnet type stuff that we can look at. So I'm going to go Star Wars. I want to run the Star Wars movie, and so the Star Wars movie was released in 1977, and somebody or some group of people went to all the trouble to put together an ASCII art version of this movie. So you can see the movie running in the top window, and down below you can see tcpdump doing its best to tell you what's being captured. Now you see the payload, which is what the data the packet is carrying. You see it down here, and then up in the movie window you don't see all of the technical jargon surrounding the packets. So I'm going to hit Control-C in the bottom window. Give it a second here. Oh, I hit it in the upper window, my bad. I'm going to restart the movie. Let me click it down here in the bottom window and hit Control-C. So that should interrupt tcpdump eventually. I hope and pray that I can break out of this. Okay, I hit Control-C repeatedly. Okay, so now I'm going to turn off -A, and now the packet capture is just going to show me an abbreviated bit of information for the packets that it's receiving. And notice that instead of IP addresses, you're seeing my laptop. It's going by fast, but you can see laptop SDF VIORT.Belkin on port 18,722. That just happens to be the port that my computer decided to open to listen to this stuff. And you'll notice that it's talking to telehack.com on port 23. Okay, so I'll hit Control-C, and now I'm going to add a -V. That stands for verbose. And that's going to add a little bit more information to what is being reported back to me. Now, in the Apple version of tcpdump, it was resolving port 23 to the name .telnet, because port 23 is a well-known port. Telnet is a well-known name that is associated with port 23. Apparently, this version of tcpdump doesn't do that. And so that's a little different. That's okay. Now I'm going to get rid of the -V. I'll put the -A back on, which is going to, again, dump the payload data. And so you'll begin seeing the data that's stored in that packet. And above it, you can kind of see how we receive it here first, and then it kind of does its thing upstairs. There might be some small lag between when we receive the packet and when the movie actually plays it, as it's delivered to the telnet application above. Okay, so that's my short little video, and that's telnet in a nutshell.